Are you tired of entering your password every time you connect to Redshift using Python? I totally get it. Today we're going to explore how to connect to Redshift using an IAM role, so you can skip the password hassle. I know how frustrating it can be to manage passwords, especially when you're working on multiple projects. You're definitely not alone in wanting a more secure and convenient way to connect to your database. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. One user asked, how can I connect to Redshift using Python without using my password, but instead using an IAM role? This is a common scenario for many developers, so let's dive into it. So, why would you want to use an IAM role instead of a password? Using IAM roles enhances security by eliminating hard-coded credentials and allows for easier management of permissions. Let's break down how to set this up. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share a bonus tip that will make your database connections even smoother. To connect to Amazon Redshift using an IAM role, the user should first ensure they have the necessary libraries installed. This includes SQL Alchemy and Saikaku 2. They can install these using pip. Next, the user needs to configure their AWS credentials. This can be done by setting up the AWS CLI or using environment variables. The user should ensure that their IAM role has the necessary permissions to access Redshift. Now, the user can create a connection string that utilizes the IAM role for authentication. Instead of including a password, they will use the IAM role to connect securely. Finally, the user should test the connection to ensure everything is set up correctly. They can do this by executing a simple query to check if they can retrieve data from Redshift. Fun fact, did you know that using IAM roles can significantly reduce the risk of credential leaks? It's like having a secret key that only you and AWS know about. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach to connect to Redshift using Python and IAM roles involves manually retrieving temporary credentials. First, you call the getClusterCredentials endpoint to get a username and password. Then you can use these credentials to create your database engine. That's all on that answer. Let's take a look at another one. An alternative approach to connect to Redshift using Python without a password is to use the AWS native Redshift connector. This connector supports IAM authentication, allowing you to connect securely if your IAM credentials permit it. This connector simplifies the process by automatically retrieving cluster details, so you don't need to specify the host and port manually. Let's check out another perspective from a different user. This user points out that AWS IAM users are distinct from Redshift database users. They mention that as of now, Redshift does not support passwordless connections, despite its similarities to Postgres. Here's that bonus tip I promised. Always review your IAM policies regularly to ensure they follow the principle of least privilege. This keeps your data secure while allowing necessary access. And there you have it. You can now connect to Redshift using Python without the hassle of passwords. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips. And remember to keep your IAM roles updated for the best security practices.